从来没有过。大城市是这样的，上千万人的大城市，没有声音，没有灯光，都是幻想的电影才能看得到，这不是单单一个医生才能感觉到的。我觉得是一个人都会。
就因为这里面有一个人是红码，安康码红码，现在要把他们带到定点点隔离。刚才又查一个一串的车，里面也是有一个红码的。
粮食危机，号召大家囤粮3个月，真有必要这么做吗？国家粮油信息中心高级经济师王辽伟介绍，我国粮食供求总体宽松，完全能够满足人民群众日常消费需求，也能够有效应对重大自然灾害和突发事件的考验，所以囤粮没有必要。
嗨，大家好。不知道现在大家都还在农村呢，还是都已经出来找工作了？要是你还在农村老家还没出来的话，我建议大家暂时在短期内就别出来了。因为现在深圳这边很多做外贸出口订单的工厂都已经陆陆续续的开始放假了，就是没事干，没有订单，也就是最近这几天的事情吧。所以想要跑出来找工作的朋友呢，就是想要进厂的话，基本上是找不到什么好厂好工作的。因为现在好一点的工厂都开始放假了，都没有事干。在前一段时间呢，就是很多的大厂都放假了。今天我们工厂是最后一天上班了，今天上完班的话也要全厂放假。最近这几天的话，基本上很多厂做外贸出口订单的工厂都要开始裁员，或者是开始放假了。现在很多从老家刚过来深圳这边的朋友呢，才上半个多月的班，有些才上几天的班，就马上就要放假了。因为现在很多工厂放假没有订单做，现在又搞得很多人又要开始回老家了。
桌子上啊，地上啊，我这边蒙上，干。
It isn't that there are a lot of masks in Austria, they're almost everywhere. In fact, as of next week, by law, they'll be mandatory in all grocery stores. There are already 2 European countries forcing people to wear masks. This is the recent swearing in of the new government in Slovakia. In the neighboring Czech Republic, there's also a movement to spread the idea globally of masks for all.
Meanwhile, the CSIRO in Geelong has started initial testing on 2 coronavirus vaccines, one developed in the UK, one developed in the US. Stage 1 will involve testing on animals. If those vaccines are found to be safe and effective, testing will begin on humans in the coming months.
Well, Wall Street stocks have fallen sharply off the back of weak jobs data, and there was a stark warning from the president. This is what he said yesterday.
I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead. We're going to go through a very tough 2 weeks.
Now, we see that with China increasing its soft diplomacy. It's been sending all this aid, medical equipment around the world. But, of course, we don't know whether people are going to say thank you for that, or blame it for the virus, or blame it for holding up knowledge in the West of what was actually going on.
I think in Australia, I really hope that this is the wake-up call we've needed, Andrew, to stop being naive about the relationship we have with China and to understand that the Chinese Communist Party is looking to gain advantage over us.
I mean, this U.S. intelligence community classified report to the White House, as reported by 3 officials who did not want to be identified, telling Bloomberg News, and 2 of those officials saying the report concludes that the numbers that China has reported on the coronavirus, in their estimation, are fake.
Governor, you know, we've really learned through this whole situation how little we can believe of what comes out of China, and that, you know, a lot of those that had warned us of these dangers, and especially of the danger of our medical supply chain and pharmaceutical supply chain being dependent on China, that they were not wrong when they made those warnings. What are your thoughts?
Well, kudos to President Trump, who from the campaign throughout his presidency has made it very clear you can't trust China. They haven't been a fair trading partner. They've not been honest. They've cheated. They've violated the WTO. They've done everything in their power to try to game the system for their own advantage. And what we're seeing here is not just an economic issue. It's killing people. People all around the world are dying. And how many might have been saved if we'd had better information coming out of China early on? Thank goodness the president stopped the flow of people from China way back in January. This could have been much worse. And I was proud to see Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx both affirm that quick action and that early action was very helpful. But maybe we've learned something about the perils of globalism and why the idea of America being a country that can feed itself, that can fuel itself, and that can actually fund itself is very important. And by the way, fight for itself, make its own weapons of self-defense, whether they're military weapons or medical weapons to fight disease.
We see this epidemic primarily in epidemiological terms. Our screens are crowded with people in lab coats reading stats and giving, in some cases, good advice. I'm not attacking them. I'm not sure China sees it that way. How do you think China sees this moment? What are the stakes in their view?
Well, they clearly see it as a geostrategic opportunity, the same way they see everything. I mean, listen, they have a plan. They want to be the central power. They want to be the dominant world power. They have a saying that there can only be one sun in the sky. That's the saying of Chinese government officials. And they intend that sun to be China, to be Beijing. And they see this as an opportunity along the way. But here's the thing, Tucker. This is also an opportunity for us. It is an opportunity for us to open our eyes. The American people have known this for decades. They've known that partnering with China is dangerous. They've known that sending our supply chains overseas was wrong. Now we have the opportunity to correct those mistakes. It's time that we go all in on America rather than all in on China, and we're going to have the chance to do that now.
I hope so. I mean, we can start by ceasing the subsidizing of the education for the children of Chinese elites. I know this is off topic, but I can't resist. Our colleges and universities, almost every one of which is supported by taxpayers in the end, educate at a net loss the children of the people who are trying to displace us. Why are we doing that?
Yeah, and we also allow those educational institutions to take money directly almost from the Chinese government, these Confucius Institutes, as they're sometimes called, Tucker, that are on campuses all across the country, directly subsidized by Beijing. You might ask, why do American campuses allow these Chinese government outposts on their own campuses? And the reason is they get paid to. I mean, it's actually lucrative. So, yes, we have got to stop this cozy dealing with Beijing on our campuses, with our international trade from our financial institutions and our multinational corporations. It's time to actually put the American worker and American families and American interests first. It's time to put them at the front. And that's why I say we're going to have an opportunity now, and we need to not miss it, to invest in this country, to go all in on this country. And I hope that that will be our focus. This pandemic should make clear to us that it is an urgent, urgent need that we do this going forward.
And later in the day, subtitled into Mandarin and blown through the firewall to the VPNs, to the people of China, old 100 names, the hardworking, decent, tough people in China, suppressed by the most dictatorial power we have seen since the Nazis in the 1930s. That would be the Chinese Communist Party. It is a fact that Dr. Fauci, when he began, on I think one of his very first interviews, said there's nothing to worry about here. And it's all going to come out about what counsel he was giving to the president at that time. My understanding, and I think it's pretty locked on, is that he was not an advocate of shutting down the flights from China and quarantining people, which is still one of the most important, things that have happened in this. It's not an end all and be all, but one of the most important things that at least bought us a little bit of time. My issue is when you're evidence-based, I want to be evidence-based. When you're data-based, I want to be evidence-based. What I still ask Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and Azar, and what we haven't seen yet, the presentation the other day were all, I consider the Real Clear Politics polling of the math that was done here. We've had these on the show weeks before they brought it up the other day. We talked about the University of Washington a week before and talked about what a great system that was and what Dr. Murray and the people were doing. We still don't have, and I would just ask Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, what is the official government's, even if it's got a range? I know you've opined on what the outsiders are, and I'm sure that kind of validates it because you got Stanford, you got Harvard, and we look at the 18 they've talked about, University of Washington, some of the best in the country, Imperial College, others. But what is the evidence-based, data-based thinking of CDC, NIH, and the consortium of units that are working there? We need to see that. We need to see that because it's going to avoid another movement of the goalposts. Here's what I'm concerned about. It's a lack of focus, and here's why. When Birx sits up there and just throws out full mitigation, right? to please define full mitigation, because I will respectfully submit, and I'm doing this for the good of the cause, this is not full mitigation. I'm not so sure this is even mitigation. I'd like to see that defined. I'd like to see what metrics you're working off of because the nation's going through this horrific thing. I want to see that. And you have to lay that out.
都是已经联盟国已经打到家门口了啊，苏联人已经打到他的柏林去了啊，已经把希特勒从英朝的老家赶到了总理府地下室去了，他还幻想着要征服全世界呢，疯狂不疯狂？就这种情况下，他的宣传大部长戈培尔啊，还在德国在全世界还大量的宣传纳粹，完全颠覆。 啊，完全胡说八道！战争我们赢了，用大量的照片和视频啊，到处宣传德意志要赢了。啊，日本就更不用说了，日本的到处说我们 根本航空母舰被打没了，在东京就没有人说，而且颠倒黑白，我们把美国灭了这样的谎话都说得出来。所以大家你们要记住，帝国魔鬼在没落前，他的谎言和他的疯狂会更加超出你的想象和超出以往，这是正常现象，战友们，它是必然的。它说明了什么？说明敌人害怕，说明敌人要疯狂了，因为他知道这已经时日不多了。我们现在爆料革命遇到的问题，就像当年的盟军一样，必须要面对着希特勒可能神经病的能把东部战线的坦克最精英的部队调到中途来打仗会像大家看到的日本人能疯狂的打中途岛战役去这么冒险，打输了还得说自己赢了包括当时二战当中英国和法国大家都觉得这个时候谁最重要的时候，这种投机取巧，英国人成了英雄，法国人在历史上在欧洲永远是个投降鬼大家能看得出来，这就是你对信仰、对意志的坚定和如何看法。